it's Elizabeth Sweetwater here with a brand new tutorial. In this tutorial I will guide you through the steps of making the jumpsuit. There's a button and a zipper variation. You can choose between puffy sleeves and regular sleeves, and between a straight leg or a flared leg. Enjoy making this jumpsuit. For the variation with the buttons, cut the front piece and facing piece with the attached lapel. Reinforce the facing pieces with stretch fusible interlining. For the variation with the zipper, cut the front piece and facing piece along the straight mid-front line. The facing is longer than the front. You will also need a back piece, 2 back yoke pieces, 1 outer piece, 1 lining piece, 2 collar pieces, one is reinforced with stretch fusible interlining, a long strip of fabric, full width and 10 cm high. Reinforce half of this strip widthwise. Sleeves and optionally sleeve bands, the waistband, pocket pieces, the trouser legs front, and the trouser legs back. Start by copying all the darts with a water-soluble marker or chalk. Pin from the widest end towards the tip. Sew all the darts, including the trouser darts at the back. Connect the yoke to the back piece and the shoulders. Overlock the shoulder seams and top stitch. Overlock the curved edge of the facing pieces and edges of the yoke lining. Connect the yoke lining to the front facing pieces. Make a collar template by copying the collar pattern piece without the seam allowance. Trace this template on the reinforced collar piece. Pin and sew along the trace line. Iron open the seam. Cut away excess fabric along the curved corners. Turn the collar and press flat. Indicate mid-front, shoulder point and mid-back. Also indicate mid-back and shoulder point onto the collar. Pin the front of the collar to the neck at the mid-front point. Then the shoulder. And then mid-back. Pin and sew the collar all around the neck. Use the same template technique for the lapel. Copy onto the reinforced part of the facing. Then pin and sew the yoke lining and facing around the neck. The attaching of 10 cm of waistband to both sides of the front, do this before you sew on the facing. Since I forgot to attach the waistband to the front pieces first, I am now sewing the bottom ends of the facing to the front pieces. Iron open the seam, thin out the seam in the curve of the lapel, turn and press. Indicate the middle of the yoke lining and the yoke with a pin. Pinch with thumb and index finger the edges together. Turn inside out and start pinning the seam from the middle to the side. Only pin half the seam. Turn and repeat for the other side. Once the seam is sewn, you can optionally top stitch. Sew one line on 1 cm from the edge and one line a few millimeters from the edge. Pull the threads until it has gathered and fits between the 2 points. Pin the gathered part between the 2 markings. Before attaching the sleeve with the overlock machine, it is advisable to sew the gathered part with the sewing machine first. Attach the sleeves with the overlocker, then the side seams and the rest of the waistband. Top stitch the front and collar edges all around. Make 3 vertical buttonholes on the right side and 1 horizontal one on the right side on the waistband. After the buttonholes are made and the sleeves are hemmed, the seam of the waistband is finished with the overlock machine. Fold the front trouser legs in half and top stitch very close to the edge. Sew the pocket piece to the front trouser legs, right sides together, iron open the seam and fold back. Top stitch the edge, turn over and place the other pocket piece on top. Pin the 2 pocket pieces together and sew with the overlocker. Attach the pocket to the top and sides. Place the front pieces on top of the back pieces, pin and sew the inside seam and then the side seam. Turn one leg inside out and put it in the other leg, right sides together. Now pin the crotch seam together. Then sew with the overlock machine. Indicate front, sides and back with a pin and pin the top to the trousers, right sides together. Sew the seam with the sewing machine first. Cut the seam on both sides of the facing. Finish the seam with the overlock machine, the area between the cuts separately. Fold the belt over, pin and sew all around, leaving an opening in the middle to turn. Sew the short ends in a straight line or at an angle. Turn the belt. Iron open the seam, thin out the corners and turn. Press flat and top stitch. Indicate 1 cm seam allowance on the top and 1 cm from the mid-front. Place the zipper right side on top of the right side of the fabric along the front edges. Fold over the zipper tape, pin and sew the zipper to the edge. Pin and sew the other half of the zipper. Make sure the top is starting at the same point and the seams connect. And in this case, I also check if my print connects. Pin and then sew the facing and yoke lining to the front pieces and neck, right sides together. Do this on the inside of the front so you can follow the visible stitch line. Iron open the seams and thin out the top corners. Turn and press flat. Top stitch the edge. Continue with attaching the yoke lining as explained before. So that's it for our jumpsuit video tutorial. There's also a step-by-step tutorial available on Weebly where you can find all the additional information. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time.